Luke McCluskey, thank you for joining me on GV Talks.
Harley, cheers mate. Thanks for having me here.
I seen on your Instagram the other day that you were talking to some kids for, was it a career day?
Yep. Like the new school, the what's it called again?
The super school?
The super school, yeah. So just a careers day with them, just to try help them out with coming into the trade or whatnot. Yeah.
And the caption was, you need to get more into your public speaking.
I'm not a fan of public speaking, so they asked me to do it, and I didn't want to do it, so I realised I need to do it.
Yeah, I still get nervous coming into these, but I'm more scared of not doing them.
Yeah.
Like, I would hate to look back on my life and be like, oh, when I was 30, I considered doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And never did it. And I think one of the cool aspects of this whole thing is, in 5 years, you're going to listen to this and reflect on it, and you're going to be a completely different person.
And it's all about developing yourself. Like, if you're not doing it, you're not developing yourself. So
yeah, a great opportunity to get out of your comfort zone.
Yep, it is 100%.
Of the 20 guests I've had, I reckon maybe 2 have walked in completely confident.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Before we get too deep into it, do you want to let the Shepparton people know who you are?
Yep, Luke McCluskey. I'm a 30-year-old, born and bred in Shepparton. I am a local businessman. I run a heating and cooling company, McCluskey Heating and Cooling. Me and Harley, we know each other from Origins, and I love my fitness and gym. And yep, that's me.
Yeah, awesome. So, how's your fitness been going?
I've just recently gotten back into it, so I'm at Nemesis now doing CrossFit. And yeah, it's getting there. It's been a bit of a hard road with COVID and everything.
I heard through the grapevine that you hurt your back.
Shoulder. Yep. So I once COVID first came out and the gym shut down, I stopped working out, and then I went to a friend's house a month later and still thought I was as physically fit as I was that month before, and I ended up doing something in my shoulder. Yeah. So I just stopped exercising after that.
Yeah.
For a good 5-6 months now. Yeah, longer maybe.
Yeah, it's feeling all right now.
Yeah, getting better.
One of the things that keeps on popping up on my Facebook is your opinion on SAM.
The art museum.
The art museum.
Yeah.
And do you want to share your opinion?
Because
obviously a lot it seems 50-50. It's getting a bad rap from some people saying it's a waste of money. They should have spent the money better.
Yeah.
But I like the way that you're looking at it.
Yeah. It's great for Shepparton. So you look at how much we've grown in the last 5 years. Without the hospital, the courthouse, and now we have the museum. We're attracting a whole brand new type of people. And to have them people come to Shepparton and want to stay, we need to diversify and have things that they're interested in. And that museum would be one of them.
Yeah. The thing that we're missing, I feel, is a strong university presence.
Yeah.
Like once we've got that, I think Shepparton will be able to maintain more of the people that seem to drift through.
Yeah.
Like through my gym, I get a lot of people who come for like a year or 2 years, and they're coming down to do be a doctor, but it's kind of like a journey place for them.
So they've done the study and then they're doing the placement here.
Yes.
Yeah, but then they leave, don't they?
Yes.
Yep. So, and that's the thing. We need to try and make it more to keep them here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I let you know that I want to have you on quarterly. So I want to get into more of that sort of topic down the road.
Yep.
But what I thought would be good for this episode is if we could kind of set a benchmark and talk about who you are and who you've become.
Yep.
Yeah. So how was your childhood?
Childhood was any normal childhood. It was great. Until I was probably about 12 years old, and then my parents separated. So that was a little bit rough. Probably caused a lot of issues throughout my life later on, which I've had to spend a lot of time learning that possibly could have been it. And yep, so many of us go through it. Yeah.
Was the relationship between your parents toxic before it turned into a separation?
Well, I was just a kid, so I wouldn't realise, but I would imagine that it might have been. Yeah.
Do you think separation was the right decision for them?
It's a tricky question. Probably. Yeah, probably. Yep. It's yeah.
Can you recall specifically what was hard about it?
About when my parents split up.
Yeah.
Well, not at all. Like, not at It didn't seem hard when it happened. It just happened. We moved houses. Everything just changed. And then it wouldn't be until later on in my life I sort of obviously had a little bit going as in my 20s, and then when I had to start working on myself to why I would be doing these certain things that I was doing, I sort of took it back to my childhood, and like that could have been it, that little bit of childhood trauma and stuff like that, affecting my development, and probably like a bit of pain, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. But you only felt that pain in reflection.
In reflection, oh yeah, yeah. Would have had any normal childhood, it was fine. Loving mother, loving father. Always wanted the best for me and my brothers. Yeah.
What was your ambition when you were in school? Like, what was your dream job? What were you working towards then?
So I was at Notre Dame studying. I remember year 11, I was studying biology, law. Like I was trying to have a crack at it, but then I just lost interest. Yeah, and then started to do VCAL, and then just sort of decided I wanted to do a trade. Yep.
What drew you to a trade? Did you try any of that stuff? Were you hands on as a kid?
I wouldn't say I was hands on as a kid. So I tried a lot of jobs. I worked at the cannery, Luke's Magic Meats, Red Rooster. Like these are as a teenager, and then Rubicon, factory jobs, and so bricklaying, concreting. So I tried a lot, and then once I got to plumbing, I decided plumbing was for me. Yep.
So did you finish VCAL?
I finished VCAL, yes. Yeah.
And you were on an apprenticeship?
Then I finished VCAL, and then done all these other jobs, and then started my apprenticeship. Probably started my apprenticeship when I was 20 years old, so a little bit later, yeah.
Did any of your apprentices remind you of yourself?
Well, my little brother, Ben, did, hugely, massively, yeah. So he's now qualified. He's in Melbourne working for himself, and he's doing really, really well. But yeah, he reminded, which was both pretty hot-headed, I think, yeah. So
He moved to Melbourne?
He moved to Melbourne, yeah.
Just for his own shot or more opportunity?
His partner, Chelsea, she's studying psychology, so she's moved to Melbourne to study that, and then Ben thought he'd have a crack at... he wanted to move down, and he's just such a great worker, and he's better off working for himself than anyone else, because what he can do is quite amazing, so he may as well do it for himself, which he's doing, and he calls me up every now and again. It's good that he calls me up now and again, because he now knows the stress that I had as a business owner, and he can realise certain ways of why things are, but he's going good.
Was it a big loss for your business?
Huge, yeah. But we've got a couple new kids at the moment, and we're training them up, and it's my first sort of transition of losing qualifieds to go on and do other things. Like, we've trained them up, now they're leaving, and now we've got new kids, and it's tough, but we're diversifying, we're getting used to it.
Yeah. What experiences have shaped you? Especially in those early days. Like, what were you going through when you were 20?
We probably should give people a bit of the backstory to where we're trying to go with this. Mm-hmm. So, when I was 22 years old, I was arrested just down from here, actually, at the Yahoo bar for selling drugs. I'd been doing so since I was probably 18, and I was pretty heavily involved into it. And then the question was, what?
So what led you to that? Because that's, like, you're 18, surely somebody put this idea in your head, or were you trying to make some money, or did you think it was cool?
Look, we were doing a lot of partying. We thought it was cool. A lot of us were doing it. But as a 30-year-old man, looking back on it when I was a kid. I would say it would be, I was a very scared, insecure kid, and I had no meaning. And obviously my parents splitting up and a bit of trauma and not really knowing who I am, to then find something that gave me meaning, and significance, and the drug game that did that for me.
Yeah, I think those short-term rough roads are more appealing when you're younger.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you don't think over multiple time frames when you're 18. You just think about, what can I have right now?
Yeah.
Is that kind of what your head was doing? Like, you're obviously, if you talk to somebody about taking that path and you say, where do you think that road leads? Jail.
Yeah. Or death.
Or death.
Yep.
That's what I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Even at a young age, that's what I would have been thinking if somebody had asked me that.
Yeah.
Like a short-term status, money,
Yep.
feeding my ego, girls, all that
Yep.
sort of stuff. But I still would have known that probably wasn't the right path for me.
Yep. Yep.
Did you have a sense of that?
Well, it's funny you mentioned ego. Like I would have had a huge ego problem, which the ego problem is more of it comes from being so insecure, and even I have to pull myself up now at this day and age with that. But no, I never thought where the path was going to lead me at all.
Was getting arrested a wake-up call, or did you continue down that path after that?
All right, so this is probably like a deeply personal, like it might upset a few people in my family and stuff like that, but so 22 years of age, I'd been heavily involved for years. It was more about partying and fun and all that. It wasn't so much actual drug dealing or anything like that. So 22, arrested down at Yahoo Bar.
What was the outcome of that?
So the outcome of that, so I was, well, it was all public, all over the newspapers and everything like that, so that was really hard for the family. But so I remember being dragged out of the Yahoo Bar straight to the cop shop. So I was in there for 3-4 nights. Loud my phone call. So they raided my house. My dad was actually in the mines, but I was living in that house. So they raided that. They found all the ecstasy and speed and whatever else I was involved with. And a good thing too, this is, you have such negatives, but you always got to think about the positives. So I was locked up in jail. My parents hadn't spoken for 10 years. So since they'd separated, they absolutely hated each other. So that was a bit hard for growing up as well. But mum and dad were both there, talking to each other. And I just remember them at the, we went behind the glass obviously and had to talk through the phone and stuff, but Dad was there and he goes, "Look, Luke, whatever you've got yourself into, mate, don't, we're here and we love you, and no matter what, we're going to get you through this." And Mum was the same. And like, I just look at the system and I had that, and I think about the people that didn't have that and they've got no chance of getting through it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and that's what they did. They were there for me. We worked through it. But with drugs and addiction, it's not that easy to work through. So I went underground. I got more involved even after that. So we done the court case and everything, and then I knew no longer that I could. I set up it as a business. So I had other people doing it for me and this and that. I used my connections, and we got more involved, and this is another thing, you know, with like law and order on drugs. Like it just does not work. Like the people who are using drugs or addicted, like they don't need to be locked up. They really need to work on themselves. Locking them up is just not going to help. They really need to dig deep to try and, which is what happened with me. So anyway, I still Doug got more involved, heavily involved, more secretive. Couldn't get caught now, more at stake. And yeah, it was actually, I kept partying with drugs heavily, and it was one night I took too much and I overdosed. So I was partying with GHB, which is quite a harsh drug to use, another party drug. And anyway, I woke up at hospital with my mum, my partner, and a couple of my best friends, and that was one of my rock bottom times. And from then, I had to really realise that there was a problem there with what I was doing. I was either going to end up in jail or end up dead. So from then, Mum's pretty high up in the hospital. She runs pain management there, and she has a lot of connections. She sat me down with a meeting with a psychologist, a drug specialist, Cameron McGregor, who probably would not realise this, but had one of the biggest influences on my life and getting my my shit together. So we sat down with him and another doctor and my mum, and we just worked through what was going on. And from that meeting, I accepted to go into to see help. Yeah. So I think for 2 years, me and Cameron on and off saw each other. We started off quite heavily, once a week, and then once a fortnight, once a month, and then every now and again things would be going good, and then I'd sort of fall back into a hole, and then I'd have to go and see Cameron again, and yeah.
Was one of the toughest things about this, Luke, the people around you expected that behaviour from you?
They expected what behaviour?
Like your friends would have been in the same scene.
They were all in the same scene, but that's the tricky thing. Like all my friends are the great people. It's not like we're all down and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think you were deeper in it than anyone else?
I was definitely deeper in it than anyone else, and I was starting to muck around with some down and out people. So I will definitely own up to that. Yeah.
Why is addiction from those substances so hard to give up?
Well, as obviously I've had to do a lot of work, a lot of study, and read a lot of books. And there's a famous psychologist, Gabor Mate. If you haven't listened to a podcast of him, I highly recommend. He has a great one with Tim Ferriss, but he goes on about it's not why the addiction, why the pain.
Yeah.
So you need to work out why you're trying to make yourself feel better. Like what's wrong? Why the drugs, or why the whatever it is.
I've never taken any party drugs.
Yeah.
But it's explained to me as it's this intensified happiness that you can't get from anything else.
Yeah.
And then when you come down from that, your ability to feel like a normal level of happiness is lower.
Yeah.
So you resort back to, that's how the addiction works.
But it's not even drugs. It can be anything that releases serotonin. So it can be gambling, drugs, computers, like computer games. Like as now I realise I have a very addictive personality, and it could be gym, it could be exercise, but that's a good one.
Yeah.
It could be business, but that's a good one. Obviously the drugs and gambling and that aren't good ones. But
was there one of those positive crutches that you got into to help you get out of those down times? Like, was there something that you turned to straight away?
Well, I always exercised. So I like me, Cameron, we would sit down and work out like why I'm still in such better shape for what I'd been doing, and it was just that very active, healthy lifestyle. Yeah.
What do you think the long-term repercussions of these actions have been?
Oh, look, it's been hard within the community. A lot of shame, especially with the older generations. A lot of my friends, their parents, their family like it was hard for me to go back to football clubs. Like it's a stigma. Like it's there. It's going to be there with me for the rest of my life. I've been going quite well for many years now, but I still know like that'll be a thing that gets brought up about me.
But how does that make you feel? Do you think that should be left in the past?
I don't think it should be left in the past. Like once I tried it, there's an article in the Shep News about me, and early on when I was starting business, I tried to get it removed, and now I'm like, there's no way I would want to get it removed, because that was me, that was who I was back then, and now I am who I am now, and I'm proud of what I've been through for who I am now. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
You don't, this is a hard question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you regret the journey that you've taken?
I regret the people I would have hurt along the way. Like me and Tilly, obviously Tilly, Tilly, and she has just been a rock for me. And I would have hurt her along the way many times, and she just always stood by me, and we worked things out. And now we have a beautiful life, but it's a funny story like about Tilly. So her name's Matilda, and we were having a family dinner one night, and her parents, Alison and Chris, were going through why the kids were named what they were named, and Matilda means strong in battle, and like Tilly can't even do 5 push-ups, and no one would consider her to be strong in battle, but Tilly's like the greatest warrior I've ever met. She's a very strong girl. Her character, her morals, and like her compassion and her forgiveness. It's yeah.
I can understand family staying by you through these tough times, but somebody who isn't chained to you like that to be by your side through this story says a lot about her character.
Yeah, and we talk about it. We talk about it often, and she just always knew the person that I could be. Well, and she always knew I was that person. There was just other things sort of in the way, and then it's hard for her because this addiction or whatever it is, it doesn't just stop. Like you don't just get better.
Yeah.
You constantly need to work on it. There's constantly things that happen every now and again. Every couple of years something comes up. It might not be in the way of drugs, but something else will come up, and then we both have to hone it in and discuss it and work on it again. And it's like talking with my psychologist Cameron, it's like, sometimes you get ahead of yourself, and I'm like, I'm better now. And you can sort of got to realise that the work never stops. You're never better. You got to continue to work on it for the rest of your life.
I want to hear what you would say to someone else who is going through what you're explaining right now. Like, is there anything you could say to them to help them?
It's such a hard one because they really need to go through it.
Yeah.
They need to realise these things about themselves. I think I could say it till I turned blue in the face, but it wouldn't get through to them until they actually go through it themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they need to realise that it
do you think that drug culture in Shepparton is getting better? That there's less of it?
Look, probably not. And I don't necessarily... If people want to use party drugs and drink and all that, I think that's not the issue. The issue is the percent that get addicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what the percent is?
I don't think it'd be as high as what people think. It's just the people that grab it and they use that thing as their way to escape. Yeah. They're the ones that we need to look after. And I don't think the government is anywhere near doing enough to... even when I was going through the courts, So this is when I first got arrested. I had to do a court order and had to go through their counsellors or whatnot, and I would meet her once a week. And so this is a girl who was meant to help me get better, and she couldn't even define the drugs that I was using.
Yeah.
So she couldn't tell the difference between ecstasy and speed. And to me, how lucky I come from a pretty well-off family, and we could get the help from proper specialists. But like, how is anyone meant to get the help they need when that's the help that they can provide?
Yeah. Why do you think people need an escape?
It just comes down to loving yourself, really, doesn't it? Like,
do you think that that's I think you already answered this, but do you think that it's a bad thing that they need to escape? Like, it seems like they kind of need to escape from themselves.
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but how much? Like,
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with escaping from yourself, but if you never internally look down into yourself and you're always escaping from yourself, that's not good.
Yeah. I used to judge people poorly when I was younger who did that sort of stuff, but now if you do it occasionally, I think that what you're describing is fine. Like, if it's controlled and if that's what you need to do to have fun, so be it.
Yeah.
That's not something that I've done, because I'm like you. I think I have an addictive personality.
Yeah.
And me being aware of that, I've never wanted to even consider it. Yeah. Because like I've done like gambling and those other ones, and I feel like out of all the crutches that you can lean on to escape from yourself, drugs would be the hardest to get out of.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But the drugs I was involved in, they weren't addictive, the real addictive drugs and stuff like that. But for me, it wasn't so much the drugs that were addictive. It was the lifestyle of what the drugs bring that was addictive. So the significance of being someone at the nightclub and and the money and stuff like that too. But that's what I got addicted to.
So you said the people have to go through the journey themselves. Do you think that they just get through the journey as they mature?
A lot will, a lot do. Over the years, a lot of our friends who have gone through it, people would write off like there's no coming back from it, and they're all back, and they're doing really well in life.
Yeah. Because there'd be something wrong if you wanted to be the guy at the club with all the money and the girls, and you're 40.
Yeah.
Like that's not the person who's at the club these days doing that sort of stuff. But just as they've got older, they've matured their way out of that.
Yeah. But I think as you get older, you find yourself more and your values, and as you find yourself more and you find your values, you're not going to value that anymore.
Yeah. Mm. You said Tilly could see your potential. When did you realise your potential?
And this is a hard one, because it's like you can talk about my past and down and out and this and that, but like I've always been driven. And always been a hard worker, and so I've always had the potential, always knew the potential. But I guess it hasn't really started to come together for me until like the last few years. All the hard work and everything's starting to pay off. Yeah. But my potential. When did I see my potential?
Like, you've always had the traits. When did you bring it all together? When did you start McCluskey Heating and Cooling?
Well, that was the big thing, the business. So I was 25 years of age, so 5 years ago, and we both love Jordan Peterson, and the big thing he goes on about is personal responsibility. Well, if you want personal responsibility, start a business, and you'll know about personal responsibility. If you want to be a successful businessman, you'll know about personal responsibility, because there's no handouts, there's no help, it's all you. So starting my business would have helped me realise my potential, to be able to do what I'm going to do.
Yeah. What other responsibilities do you have outside of the business? I can sense that, in my experience, every conversation I've had with you has left me in reflection.
Yeah.
like it's made me think about something differently, or it's taught me something.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge. Like, and I feel like your path's going to lead you down a road that's going to have you help other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, do you see that for yourself?
I do, and that's why we're sort of trying to work out a way now that I can develop myself to talk about my story with drugs and stuff and help people. But even just with the business, like the more successful we get, the more we can help people.
Yeah.
And that's been great because it frees us up more to be able to do the things that we want to do. Yeah.
What sort of people do you want to help? People specifically with drug problems?
I think people with drug problems, yeah. People who come from a bit rough upbringings, or even like just a lot of kids under so much stress nowadays, and you know your parents, a separation. You got to take into account that they're still doing the best they can do, but they're still trying to live their life while dealing with the separation and everything like that. And then the kids are going to struggle. The kids are going to battle. So it'd be a way to try and identify them kids and try and help them learn the skills that they're going to need, or give them a heads up with what could come from that. Mm.
Do you think that message comes better from you because you've lived it?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think all of Shepparton know this story?
Of what I've just explained now?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure all of Shepparton probably know that I was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I asked, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I'm not from Shepparton.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't sure on the severity of like how well the story was known.
Yeah. No, I don't. Like, it happened 8 years ago now. Yeah, I'm not sure of it. Anyone who knows me now, and I think I've proved myself well enough now with my character that I don't get related back to that. But anyone who does not know me, I'm sure that is still bring up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame. Because you like I said, you're not that person. Obviously, not that person anymore.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But like back to the personal responsibility. It's just everyone can solve so many problems if they start to take responsibility for their life. And that we talked about Jordan Peterson, and we both love to talk about what he teaches. And just like how he mixes mythology in with meanings now, and about slaying the dragon. Like, well, why would you slay the dragon? And why does the dragon hoard the treasure? Well, the dragon hoards the treasure, and if you slay the dragon, you get the treasure, and the treasure is everything that you could want. I've really mucked that up, haven't I?
I don't think so.
Yeah, but
I understand what you're saying.
So
you have to go out and face the thing that is in front of you. Yeah,
and that could be that you're insecure or whatnot, whatever it is. If you go face that, you will get the treasure.
Yeah.
And then Jordan, like they talk about the burden, like your sacrifice, like you take the biggest sacrifice you can and you wear it and you make it work, and that's the business. Like you work hard, you try your best, you make it work, and then everything just comes together.
Yeah. He talks about burning dead wood off.
Yep.
Like, and that's what you've done over the years.
Yep.
Like, got rid of all the stuff that was holding you back, and
yeah. Well, yeah. So there's still a lot holding me back. There's still a lot more to work on.
What dragons do you have these days?
Well, what dragons do I have these days? Well, I still struggle, still insecure, still need to work on things. You know, like me and Tilly, we post on Instagram quite a bit, and I think that could portray our lifestyle and stuff more positive than what it is. But we still we still have a lot to work on.
Yeah, you guys would always be challenging each other.
Yeah,
that'd be for the better though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
like you would be bored if you had a partner that only made you happy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How's the house coming along?
Yeah, good. We're getting there. Really getting there. Yep, that's that. And that's, talk about like a burden, like that house. We bought that house many years ago. It needed a lot of work. And we've worked at it and worked at it and worked at it. And now it's finally getting somewhere. That house, it's our home, but it's an investment. We've done this work on it. Now, obviously with Shep, how all the prices are soaring and everything like that, it's now it has quite a bit of equity now, which then we can reuse to help with other future investments.
Yeah. What are your goals moving forward?
Goals moving forward. So, I'd really like to figure out a way to develop this program.
With helping the youth.
Well, yeah. Or just some way to tell my story to get through to kids who are going through it at the moment. Yeah.
Man, I love that. How much thought have you given it?
A little bit. Like, a lot really. But yeah, we're just starting out. Like we've started to do a couple projects, just us tradesmen, like that the Lighthouse project at the Haven. Like we've just done a bit of work with them. I haven't told them my story yet, but the reason I'm happy to do the work is because I love what they're doing, and it'd be great to somehow one day try it.
Yeah. Have a club? Is that what you're envisioning, or
like a club?
Yeah, or like a
well, even
a group.
You join up to you find 10 kids who are a little bit rough around the edges, and maybe we take them to the gym and we have a hour workout session, and try to be a strong positive role model for them. And I know the lingo, I know what they're going through. I'm not gonna be against them if they're being in fights and they're taking drugs and stuff like that. Because I've been there, I've done that. I can talk to them about it, and then I won't be judging them.
Yeah. Like you said, they have to go through the journey themselves, though. Like, are you going to be able to handle it when you can't help them?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like we've hired people before who had rough backgrounds, and we really tried to help them. And it eventually started to affect the business, and they've had to you just can't.
You can't give too much of yourself away.
Yeah. So, but
it's tricky because I would love to help these people as well, but they've got to want to help themselves. And how do you separate the two?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's what we'll have to try and work out.
Yeah. But nobody's a lost cause either.
No, definitely not. No.
I heard through the grapevine that there was somebody locally going through something similar to what you've been through, and you went around and spoke to them and tried to help them out of the path.
Yep.
And I think that was amazing.
Yeah. No, there's been a few over the years, a couple of people I've tried to reach out to. And as I look at it now, a lot of them, they're good as gold. Like they went through that journey, they grew out of it, and now they're kicking goals back to normal. Yeah.
Luke, who locally inspires you?
Who locally inspires me? Peter Eastor and Susanna Sheed, they were neighbours of mine, and I was just talking to them recently about. Peter was mentioning how much Susanna's lobbied for over the last couple of years, and he mentioned I think she might have brought $1 billion to Shepparton, which I just think that's great. You look at how much Shepparton's grown in the last 5 years, and I think Susanna must have a big part in that. So Peter Eastor, he's a local paediatrician, he's quite well known. But I would say they inspire me. And then just business owners, all business owners in general, especially ones that have made something of themselves, and you can see them giving back now into the community.
Yeah, definitely. Would you ever run for council?
No, I don't think so. No, but I am interested. I'm interested in the community. I'm interested in where I live and it being better. But I don't think I'm interested in running for council. No, I'll try and make my improvements in other areas.
Do you think there's lots of people like what you just described? People who are perhaps doing okay for themselves and now they're trying to give back to the community?
I think there's heaps. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Do you think that they get the recognition that they deserve?
Well,
obviously they're not doing it for that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a shame that when somebody does something good, it doesn't get echoed.
Yeah.
Because when I hear somebody do something good, I want to contribute or I want to go do something good myself.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just me, but obviously I hear a lot more about the bad stories in Shepparton than the good stories.
Yeah. Or just get on Facebook, man. How horrible is it? I really battle when Shepparton News post an article about something positive for Shepparton and then them comments, the majority are negative.
Yeah, but the majority are negative, but I think the minority of people are those people. The majority of people are happy that these things are coming to Shepparton, but the minority of terrible people are the ones who comment.
100%. And your happy people aren't going to be reading that article on Facebook, and they're definitely not going to be commenting. Like, they're just busy with their life. They're not going to sit there and comment on, how dare they build that museum, what a waste of money. Because they're busy living their life and they're busy helping improve things. They don't have time to do that.
Yeah. All right, great. Luke, anything you want to leave the Shepparton public with?
Nah, not at all. Thanks for having me on, yeah.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.